Welcome back to the Comic Book Bullies from Nerds and New Bully. I'm your host Leroy, aka Mr. Monday Morning, with my co-hosts.
Yeah, this is Eli, aka the Hairless Wookie.
There you go. There's a name for that. Oh yeah. So if Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear, but Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair, then Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't very fuzzy, was he? Ah,
All right.
never mind. Trying
Say
to get
that
everybody
5
in the
times fast.
I used to do that. But I'm not going to do that right now. Like Peter Piper, I screwed that up. Unique New York is another one, but that's another. Anyway, we're back with another episode. We're just going to jump into it. Like I said, a lot of stuff happened. This is the first episode of the new year, 2022. So we're just jumping into it. And Eli, I'm not going to say the last 2 days, but just this week leading up to 2022 has been nuts because for some reason, like the last 2021, we've been kind of leaving off. We haven't really been doing like the rest in peace post or the rest in peace segments because nothing's really happened. And then all of a sudden, it's just like 2022 just went nuts. It was like Final Destination out here. Like, what the hell is going on? So, yeah. So, anybody want to jump in and listen to the Boba Fett podcast? We are going to talk about Boba Fett. We're going to talk a great links about Boba Fett in this podcast, but we do have to do our due diligence and pay respects to the ones that have passed. And first thing we're gonna do, lining up, and this is the first but not last, is Betty White. We gotta talk about Betty White, and man, this is the thing. This is the thing that we've known that was coming because here's the thing. I think Betty White was about to turn 100, and I think 3 weeks from now.
Yeah,
a couple weeks from now. Yeah, it's crazy. So Betty White was about to turn 100. And 3 weeks before she was about to turn 100, she passed. So yeah, that was the thing. And I think like on December 31st, like right before the new year, she couldn't even make it into 2022. They're like, can't do it. So yeah, we're just gonna just briefly talk about Betty White's influence because she's been around 99 years. So she's been around for a long time.
Since I was a little kid, yeah.
Since I was a little kid, since our parents were little kids, they knew who Betty White was. Of course, we know she was a part of the iconic Golden Girls. Eli, thank you for being a friend.
Look what I just did.
Oh, for those who don't know, Eli has the power now. He has powered up.
Control. Excellent.
He runs the podcast now. He has hacked the podcast. Yeah, so that's the thing. So we got the Golden Girls right here. Like I said, and the thing is for the Golden Girls, in my opinion, I think they're the template for any kind of like 4 women group that we always seen, like Sex in the City. To me, it was just always just Golden Girls for HBO. Like just do that.
I suppose, yeah.
I mean, think about it. Let's take the template.
I mean, I never watched Sex in the City, but yeah, I mean, I guess
you never watched Sex in the City.
I have. Sorry, man.
I say this. I say this like I'm shocked at it like that. But yeah, okay, let's take about it. Let's break it down. See, and I know the Golden Girls. Like we got Dorothy. Dorothy is the leader, the one that is the linchpin. Everybody. We got Ruth. Let's just say she's the city girl, the fun one. That's how we're gonna say. We don't want to get demonetized. We don't want to get banned. So we're gonna
say
JILF. If you want to go there, yeah. We got Rose. Rose was the naive one, the dumb one, whatever you want to call it. Then you got the mom. I can't remember the mom's name. It's been a while since I've seen it. But the asshole, the realist, the cynic.
Yeah, what was her name? I can't remember her name. Sorry, it's been a while.
I can't remember. But the funny thing about it, no, Blanche was But here's the thing: was the mom was the third youngest one of the Golden Girls.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a wig she's wearing. Oh, was wearing. Yeah. But yeah. Oh, and Mama's Family. We're gonna come back to Mama's Family. But yeah,
so Mama's Family? I see. Damn.
We're gonna come back to that because I want to go into depth about Mama's Family. But we go back to Sex in the City. You got the smart one, you got the dumb one, you got the city girl, and then you got the asshole. Which one was the asshole? I can't remember which one was the asshole. Got to be the redhead, just cause. But yeah. So that's it. But I'm saying, and you may know this one, Eli, Designing Women.
Oh, I never watched that, but I heard. Yeah, I know.
Damn it! So it's the same thing. You got the dumb one. You got the the high class one. You got
I watched Facts of Life.
Okay. So which came first? What came first, Facts of Life or Golden Girls? Because Facts of Life follows the template also.
Yeah. Well, Facts of Life was a spinoff of Different Strokes.
Yeah, no, Different Strokes was a spinoff of Facts of Life.
No, Mrs. Garrett was the first Drummond housekeeper.
Oh yeah. You're right. Okay, got screwed up with that. What do we got here? old women, I came to the right show. Exactly. So if you're looking for gifts, you came to the right place. What else we got? But yeah, that's what we got with Betty White. Like I said, she did so much stuff. She was on the Mary Tyler Moore show. And let's go back to Mama's Family, because she was on Mama's Family also. She was the daughter. She was actually on the Carol Burnett show at first, because Mama's Family was a skit on that show.
Yeah.
And then it became to it, and then she just was a recurring role. Like I said, if you grew up in the 80s, you love Mama's Family. Because why? Because back then moms could cuss at their kids with no problem whatsoever, and that's all Mama's Family did on that show.
That's called abuse now, but
it's called abuse now. You're
trauma.
Call, you can just text. You can just text. You didn't even got to call anybody anymore. Just text. Back then we didn't have that shit. You got cussed out, and that was it. But can we move on to the next one? Because we got a list.
Well, I mean, the thing about Betty White is, like, there's been all these memes, like, for like how many years now? We're like, oh, we like to say that Betty White's doing fine. Like, you saw that during the whole pandemic, and there's always these
people
memes
dying
and
left
sort of
and right,
inside jokes where she's outliving everybody, and it just came. We kind of had this notion that she was never good. She was gonna live forever.
Right. Every year we were like, okay, this person died, but Betty White still here, But now we don't get that, Now it's like, oh man, Betty White gone. Okay, so now who is?
And she actually She stayed relevant. She appeared on stuff throughout, even into her 90s. She was on Community, and hosted SNL and was on like different sitcoms, even into her
still
90s.
Working, still out there, so it was like that was something. So yeah, so Betty White was still
so she was like all our grandma or all our great aunt or whatever, So
yeah, because like I said, we know her, our moms and parents, dads knew her, probably our grandparents knew her,
So luckily we still have Dolly Parton and Elvira.
Oh yeah, okay, so Elvira's still around, so that's good. And let's see. All right. So can we move on to the next one? Because like I said, we got a list. We got I don't know, this wall of memoriam. I don't know what's going on here, because next because the thing is, Betty White overshadowed everybody that we forget everybody else that passed, because a few days before John Madden passed. And this is going to be the big one for me. This is going to be like, okay, we're going to spend a whole time talking about John Madden, but then Betty White died. I'm like, oh damn, okay, so we got to save for that. So yeah, so John Madden passed, and everybody knows who John Madden is. You don't need to, especially in the 80s or the 90s or even the 70s. Like I said, he was the youngest coach to ever win the Super Bowl. Then he became a sportscaster after that, and he changed the game of sportscasting, because he was like a sportscasting coach. Keith Rich, that's the thing about Keith. I don't understand, how was Keith Richards still alive?
All them Rolling Stones dudes are still alive and still like playing and shit.
They took every drug under the sun.
The drummer, what's his name? Charlie Watts or whatever. The drummer passed away this past year.
He did? Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, but everybody else in there, all these rock stars have done every drug you can think of, had sex with every person you can think of, and they're still here.
Don't make them like we used to.
Exactly. But yeah, going back to John Madden, like I said, we the main thing, reason I want to talk about John Madden, because of Madden football. That's the main thing. That's what we know Madden from, because like I said, this is that type of podcast. That's what we're going to concentrate on. Thing about it is, John Madden, no, he didn't make the game. He didn't sit down and stretch out 1 to 0, but he was like a creative consultant to the game. And this was back when they weren't making realistic sports games. Like the best thing we had, Tecmo Bowl. You step back and you throw a 50-yard bomb to whoever, or you get Bo Jackson.
I still got it. Shout out to my boss.
Shout out to my boss. I was just about to say that was the most sophisticated thing we had, back in the 80s. Or, there was a YouTube clip around when somebody got Bo Jackson, and he would run around until the quarter ran out, until like the first half run out, and just keep going, But when John Madden came on board, he wanted, I want it realistic. I want 11 on 11. I want actual plays. He actually brought his playbook that he used when he was he was with the Raiders. Do this. I want the 20-yard line. I want the red zone. I want 2-minute warning. I want all this stuff that was unheard of in video games. And it's it. Now, the funny thing about it is that when John Madden came into, Electronics Arts or EA Sports office, he was a football coach. So these guys are like computer programmers and ones and zeros. They're
Nerds.
They're nerds. So he came in talking to these guys like they were 300-pound, what the fuck is that? All this stuff like that. So they're getting scared and stuff like that at John Madden, because John Madden at the same time is also an imposing guy, especially back then.
Pulling wedgies on everybody.
Pulling down toilet stools and stuff like that. So,
so swirlies and shit. Nerds. Listen up, nerds.
So that's what it was. Like when they talk about John Madden now, these EA programmers, that's what they describe him as. But at the same time, they got the job done. Now, people want to talk all this noise about how Madden is now, like the football game Madden is now, how it doesn't have any innovation and it's monetized and it's capital, stuff like that. Back then, they did so much innovation at the time. You got to give respect to it then. Plus, you also got to admit that there are some people out there that have a PlayStation, have an Xbox, and Madden is the only game they own. And it's to the point that not that they don't like anything else out there, they don't know of anything else out there. I see somebody with a PlayStation, they got Madden 01, 05, 03, 07, all this stuff like that. You've heard of Uncharted? You're like, what's that? Like, never even heard of it.
That and Call of Duty.
That and Call of Duty. And that is it. And that is the only thing that will touch their system. That is it. So you got to give Madden respect for that, because it changed the game for that. And plus, other sports games follow suit for it also. They ought to start making the games more realistic, that arcade simulation, stuff like that. Like, think about it. We grew up with Double Dribble and Tecmo Bowl. These kids are growing up with Madden 2022 and NBA 2K, like realistic stuff. I'm jealous,
their jerseys and shit.
Yeah, I'm jealous, man. They got fantasy football teams on the game. They can just crank out stuff like that. So that's amazing. So, like I said, John Madden brought that in basically because he bullied a bunch of nerds at EA, and that's how it got done. We're not done, Eli. we're going down the wall. Also, and this is a big one. This is actually a big one for me. Rest in peace to Max Julian. I know a lot of people like, who? Okay. But if you know, you know. If you know who he is, because he started, in my opinion, and I've been saying this, this is not something I'm just blowing smoke up your ass, anything like that. I've been saying this for a while. In my opinion, the Mack, he is the star of the Mack. Goldie, he's in there. And that is the greatest blaxploitation movie of the 70s. I don't care what anybody says. I've always said it. If you want to watch one movie, you've never seen any of them, watch the Mack. There were so many quotable lines in that movie. So many quotable people and names in the movie, like Pretty Tony what the movie is about is basically is a pimp. It's a story in the life of a pimp.
We can't say any of these quotes or we'll get canceled.
We will get, you can't say any of that stuff, man. But I gotta say one, Eli. I gotta say one. I'm sorry, Pretty Tony, but your bitch chose me. Now we can set us like class, or we can get some gangster shit. Just that was it, and every line is like that. But it's not just quotables. And a comic, it's not a comic, it's a drama. You get into the heart, and you get to the point where Goldie goes through much stuff. You're like, damn, maybe pimping ain't easy. You start thinking stuff like that, and just the stuff they go through at the end. At the end of the movie, he basically quits pimping. I can't handle it. It's too much for me, So, man, just so many lines. So, yeah, people want to throw out Superfly and want to throw out Shaft.
He's the one who, was he the first one who said, don't hate me because I'm beautiful? He was.
He might have been saying, yeah, I think he did say it. There's so many quotable lines. Like, you could just stop the movie at any point, and it's a quotable line in that movie. Just watch it. But just in the soundtrack.
Pretty Tony, that was the Ghostface Killer album. That he started calling himself that.
He started calling himself Pretty Tony, right? Because of that. Oh man, just so many lines. I love that movie. I used to watch that on repeat in college, just the Mack, just over and over and over again. Man, and we're still not done. We got one more. Damn. I'm gonna let you handle this, because the reason I'm gonna let you handle this, because
who is this?
I don't know who this is. I don't know who this is either.
Oh, okay. Rob Bruce. Okay.
Rob Bruce. Okay, I have no idea who this guy is.
Okay, so Comic Book Man, that was that show that came on with Kevin Smith, and it was like a reality show about his comic book store and all of the guys that worked there. And I guess those guys that were on the show do a podcast too. Tell them Steve, Dave, they're all part of Kevin Smith's podcast network. And they did their own podcast, and that led to this show where they just hang out and talk about Batman on Batman. They talk about comics and shit. But there was a guy on there. He was like a like a pop culture historian, and he was like super geek, super nerd, and then he was like a consultant. Whenever like a high valued item would come in, and they needed like a consultant on what the value it was, they call in this guy. His name was Rob Bruce, and he would just like, really break down the history of everything. I remember it was one time he's talking about zip codes. Some guy brought in a thing. It was like a Superman, like some sort of Superman poster or something, and it said copyright 1940 something, on it. So he was thinking it was from the 40s. He was thinking it was worth thousands of dollars. And then Rob Bruce like looked at it and said, actually, down there's an address that says blah 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 blah, and it has a zip code. Zip codes weren't invented till the 60s.
What, really? So he just knew just everything.
Yeah,
he was just like one of
right
those
there. So
walking
this is
Wikipedia
probably
guys,
this is probably from the 60s. So actually it's probably worth maybe $100. So that's what he was like. He was like this expert in like nerd shit.
Okay, so
like
what was he? Was he
nerd.
smug? Was he smug? Like, yeah, I just know everything.
Pretty much.
Or was he like one of
He
those?
would,
Well,
like,
actually, one of those guys.
this guy. No, he would like basically piss people off sometimes. And like guys would bring in stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, I want like 500 for this," and the guy's, "It's only worth like 50," and the guy's like, been threatened. Yeah, it was a guy threatened to punch him one time, and it was like, yeah. I mean, I watched that because it was on after Walking Dead. When I used to watch The Walking Dead, it would come on right after, and it was cool to watch dudes talk about nerd shit back in 2012. Right as the Avengers
Right
dropped,
before the Avengers. Now your grandma knows who Silver Surfer is now.
Yeah, it was just like it was like nerd porn to me. Like, oh, they're talking about comic books and Star Wars, and it was a cool show, and that's pretty much what led me to start my own podcast. Because Izzy, before I did the Geek Savs, he was the one who told me what podcasts were. I was, you're just like
they were
shit.
new at the time. Yeah, this is still a new form of media. Yeah.
And I didn't even know what podcast was. I was like, what the fuck is a podcast? Oh, they just talk shit. It's like a talk radio show. I was like, oh, really? And I was like, well, what the fuck are we going to talk about? And then I was like watching Comic Book Man. Like, look at these motherfuckers. They just talk about comic books and movies and shit. Like, we could do that. Let's do that.
Right.
So that's how we did it.
You do it anyway.
Yeah.
All you got to do is just put a mic in front of you and just that's it. Yeah.
And that's what led to the Geek Savs podcast that we learned. And that's how I hooked up with Leroy. And history has been made. This is where we are now.
So I didn't. Now I'm starting to see the impact of this guy I've never heard of before.
Yeah.
He has impacted my life, and I've never even met him before, or even heard of him.
Yeah. So rest in peace, Rob Bruce, like the super nerd.
Yeah, shout out to him. All right, so that is a list as of now. I'm pretty sure there is more, but that's all we're gonna do. Like I said,
it's been a rough year, man.
Rough
2 years.
It's only Sunday on Monday. A rough 2 days going in. So I hope 2022 isn't like this for the rest of the year. I hope it kind of calms down and we settle down and get some stuff like because damn, man, 2020, 2021, they've been rough years, man. I
saw a meme today, something like I didn't know 2020 was going to be a trilogy.
Right. Oh yeah, because it's already starting off crazy. So yeah. Oh, and even that, like the weather is starting off crazy. Remember, I was making fun of you, Eli, because I was wearing flip flops the other day.
Oh yeah.
It's snowing outside.
And
it was
warming
yesterday.
up here.
Yeah, and
it's warming up here, man.
And it was yesterday. I sent you that text. I was saying I was flip flop. Now it's snowing outside. Like, what in the world is going on? So I don't know. Yeah. It's crazy.
Well, we're warming up here, man. We got up to 0 degrees. We might be above 0 now. Yeah, we're at 1 degrees.
Live from Planet Hoth.
Yeah, 1 degree. Where's it at?
1 degree.
I can't see it. Where's my one? Yeah, right there. You can see it right in the corner. You can't see it. Ah, shit. You can kind of see it. Anyways, it's 1 degree.
I believe you. I'm not taking you for a liar.
Yeah, it was like 20 below all weekend. It sucked. I didn't leave the house.
I'm like, I don't understand it, man. I was like, I had the fan on when I went to sleep yesterday. Now it's snowing outside. But yeah, that's what's going on. So that being said, let's move on to the next part of the podcast, number 2, the part that we're gonna lighten up the mood now. Hopefully.
Box
Eli,
office?
I'm putting it on you to lighten the mood.
Box office?
Oh no, we're skipping that. Take a wild guess.
Well, speaking of box office, I was like, now I'm not like one of these guys that loves listening to themselves, but every now and then I'll throw on one of our episodes and have it on the background on YouTube and shit while I'm cleaning or whatever.
Oh,
And
you listen to us?
yeah, sometimes I do. Yeah.
well, thanks for listening.
just see how stupid I sound. Like, God damn, I hope I don't sound. Did I sound that stupid? You know. Well, you said a couple weeks ago, you said that you didn't think Spider-Man was going to reach 1 billion.
I did say that. I did say that. Now, look, when I say the wrong thing and I eat my words, I will admit to it. It doesn't happen often. But when I say the wrong thing, because I honestly because it wasn't gonna because it still hasn't been released in China. It may not even.
And that was what you said. You said it ain't going to be released in China. That's
right,
why
and it still hasn't been released in China. So what I'm hearing is that this is the highest grossing movie without a China release, like period, like in history.
I think I read today that it's like it's like in the top 10 of all time grossing movies of all time.
So. I don't think it's top 10 yet. But I think it will be by the end of this podcast. So yeah. Like it's moving just that fast. So it's insane how fast it's moving. So yeah, like I said, that's never happened before. So the fact that Spider-Man is doing these insane pre-pandemic numbers, it's mind-boggling to me. You know, it's already made more movie than all of the other Marvel movies this year combined. Well, last year. Yeah. So yeah, I was wrong. I eat my words. Should I eat a cheeseburger? No cheeseburger.
If you like. Okay.
A
cheeseburger with mayonnaise or
no mayonnaise, no.
You're like me. I can't do
I can't do mayonnaise. That draws the line.
Yeah.
I wish somebody at Wendy's would put that shit. I'm throwing it. Wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that because we might have some Wendy's listeners.
That's when I go to Burger King. Yeah, no lettuce, no mayonnaise. On my Whopper.
Oh man! All right, let's jump into it. Okay, so like I said, we watched the TV show. Now all this Marvel shit we're done with. All this Hawkeye and all this Falcon and Winter Soldier, we're done with it. Now we'll move on to the real shit. We're back to Star Wars. Remember, they got bought by Disney also, and they've been promising us a sequel or a spinoff show to Mandalorian, which is the book of Boba Fett. Now, Eli, this one I'm gonna let you take over because, like I said, you are a resident Star Wars expert. You're the guy on Star Wars. So,
oh yeah, I'll try to keep this as brief and concise as I can because I could do a whole podcast on Boba Fett. And not just talking
in 1979.
Yeah. Oh, see, you're already getting me now.
I'm gonna shut up.
That was my first intro. I'm gonna change that. Change that right now. No, but yeah, the Book of Boba Fett dropped this week. I've been stoked. I've been waiting for this since I was a little kid. When Disney first bought Star Wars, we're like, oh sweet, they can finally do a Boba Fett movie or a Boba Fett something with Boba Fett,
which was on the plan. A movie.
Yeah, we're like, so when do they should release a movie just about Boba Fett? And there's been rumors, so and so is going to do a Boba Fett trilogy, so and so is going to do a Boba Fett movie, blah 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 blah, all for years ever since. Let me add my little 2 cents in there from what I do know about that. So a Boba Fett movie was on the pipeline when it first got started and first bought it, and it was supposed to be directed by Josh Trank. For those who don't know who Josh Trank is, he directed Fan 4 Stick. So when they saw Fan 4 Stick, the rest is history. You know what? That's why you haven't got a Boba Fett movie. Yeah. So yeah, we're like, oh sweet, they're gonna make a Boba Fett movie, cool, or a Boba Fett something. And then they made The Mandalorian. And it was cool. Mandalorian was cool. Mm-hmm. I love Mandalorian. Everybody loves Mandalorian. But I was still like, you know what? I want like Boba Fett. A lot of us want Boba Fett. The dopest bounty hunter in the galaxy. This mysterious character that has become a fan favorite over the years. And now I know that a lot of the younger generation, they don't get why Boba Fett is a big deal. Why he's so huge. They watch, a kid who goes and backs and watches the movies and sees Return of the Jedi and see him get, clumsily falls into the Sarlacc pit. Like, what's the deal with this guy? He hardly says anything. He hardly does anything. He's got like 5 lines of dialogue in the whole fucking series, and he dies like a Bugs Bunny cartoon. What's the deal with this guy? What? He's stupid. He sucks. Why do people like that, man? And then with Star Wars sucks. Fuck this shit. I'm gonna play fucking Minecraft. So so I'm gonna tell you why Boba Fett is such a badass. And to do that, I got to give you all a history lesson. We're gonna go back in the day. So listen up, children. Well, how's that Slick Rick song go? Forget it. I gotta get going. So Boba Fett, and I got a slideshow.
PowerPoint presentation.
I got a PowerPoint presentation.
You're gonna abuse your new power that you just.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's see. How do we do this again? Yeah. I barely know it yet. No. Okay. So Boba Fett. Here he is. Boba Fett. Originally George Lucas, when he, Star Wars came out, it was the biggest movie of all time. Back in '77, it was like Avengers Endgame for the '70s. That's how big it was. That's, to put you in that perspective. It was huge. Star Wars was huge. Nothing else like it. We hadn't seen anything else like it. It was dope. Inspired a generation of kids like me playing with toys, blah, 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 blah. They were going to make a second movie, and I remember at the time I was like 4 or 5 years old. I'm like, they're making another Star Wars movie? Holy shit. That's a brilliant idea. You know what I'm saying?
Because sequels weren't really a thing.
Yeah, it was the first time I ever heard of a sequel. They're making another fucking Star Wars movie. Oh my God, that's fucking genius. So in developing the next Star Wars movie, George Lucas wanted to make a upgraded version of the Stormtrooper. This is the elite Stormtroopers, so to speak. So they designed this outfit. Originally, Boba Fett's outfit was black and white, like a Stormtrooper. But when they did the budgets, they're like, hey, this is going to cost way too much. So we can't do the elite Stormtroopers. So fuck it. We'll just make the regular Stormtroopers. And I got bounty hunters in this script. We'll make him a bounty hunter. So they refashioned him as a bounty hunter. And he was going to be in the new movie. So many of y'all might think that, Boba Fett's first appearance was in Empire Strikes Back. It is not. His first.
I know the history. Yep.
Yeah. Boba Fett's first on-screen appearance was in the Star Wars Holiday Special, which aired on TV, I think, once back in 1978. George Lucas hates it. It's a piece of shit. It is a piece of shit. You can watch it on YouTube, but George Lucas refuses to release it. However, in the Star Wars Holiday Special, there is a short animation film that features Boba Fett. And here's a pic of him right there. This cartoon is actually on Disney Plus. You can actually go watch this, just the animation on Disney Plus.
Okay, so the Star Wars Holiday Special didn't exist, but the cartoon exists. The
cartoon this animation, yeah. So yeah, that was his first on-screen appearance. And then there was rumblings. There was rumblings about, the new Star Wars movie about to be released. And then they started dropping merchandise, promoting the movie. And one of the things this is where I first heard. My first experience with Boba Fett was the figure. This is before Empire Strikes Back came out. I remember and I had a bunch of Star Wars figures. I was a Star Wars baby. I had all the toys and shit, So I remember going to the store one day and seeing this guy. I'm like, who the fuck is this? This guy looks awesome. He's like shooting fire out of his hand. I got to get this guy. And Boba Fett, he's a bounty hunter. He's going to be in the new movie. And it just made me hyped up for Empire even more, So that was my first time ever laying eyes on this guy. And then, of course, there is the legend of the Boba Fett action figure. And its original design had a firing missile. At the time, of course, the legend is that a kid choked on the missile and they recalled it. No, what happened was it was a Battlestar Galactica figure that a child choked on something. So when they designed the Boba Fett action figure and he originally had the firing missile, they decided, no, it's a choking hazard. Let's get rid of the firing missile and just release them, without a firing missile.
So 80s kids' toys did have safety standards.
They did.
Okay.
But now there were a handful of Boba Fett firing missile action figures that did get out into the world. And those are like some of the rarest toys ever. They fetch for like 6 figures now, if you can find one. They're super rare. And yeah, they're like a holy grail of action figure collecting. Yeah. So, and then we go on to Empire Strikes Back. The movie is released. It's the greatest movie of all time. I don't give a shit what anybody says. It blew open the Star Wars mythos even further. It expanded the universe. We got to see Snow Walkers. We found out Darth Vader was Luke's dad. It just blew open the mythology and made Star Wars like way deeper than anyone expected it to be. You know,
And made spoilers a thing.
It did.
Because
And
spoilers didn't exist before then. But yeah.
Yeah. And it introduced the bounty hunters. Boba Fett was a bounty hunter. He was like this, this outlaw that basically got one over on Han Solo, one of the heroes. The thing about Empire Strikes Back is it didn't end. It didn't have a happy ending. It ended kind of fucked up. Luke get his hands chopped off. Han Solo gets frozen and taken off with Boba Fett. I mean, it's kind of a fucked up movie. And at the time, it was a harsh lesson for us kids of the 80s. I mean, there's really the bad guys don't really win. The victory is just surviving to fight another day. That's basically, the victory in that movie. The good guys are down but not out.
Right.
And
because George Lucas was trying to make a 3-act structure, which never was heard of in movies before. Uh-oh. Did he leave? He left. Anyway, he'll come back. I'll keep talking about what's going on. So yeah, so that's what George Lucas kept doing. He made a 3-act structure with Star Wars, which was never done in movies before because trilogies was never heard of. He was doing like a serial or like a play. He was making one long movie. So that's why in the second act, everybody was down like the bad guys won, which never happened before. But then they came back in the third act where everybody was good. So never was a thing before, but it actually happened. So yeah, and we're gonna see if Eli's actually gonna hold up. Let's see what we got.
My back.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I think I removed you. Hold on. I removed myself. Hold on. Hold on. Click yourself in. Click yourself in. Okay.
Stream. Okay. Am I in there? Okay, I'm in there.
Hold on. Let me get it off. Go to the Mac. I think we're there. There we go. Okay.
Are we back?
Okay. We're back. What happened? Yeah,
I think see what happens when you give me too much control. I think I hit a button and it kicked me out.
Oh, anyway, I feel a blessed to I basically explained the 3-act structure of what it was, but you can continue from where you were. Yeah.
Yes. So Empire Strikes Back ended on a very sad note, and not like today where you got the internet to speculate and blah 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 blah, or like binge watching TV where you just get to watch the next episode, or like a Marvel movie. Oh, the new movie will be out next year. No, we had to wait 3 years. 3 years to find out what happened to Han Solo. What happened? Was Darth Vader really Luke's dad? It was hard times, man. But during those times, us 80s babies, we played with our toys. And that's how we passed the time. We made all these stories up in our heads. We playing with our toys, letting our imaginations run wild. And I think that's why
our fan fiction.
Yes. And I think that's why the old school Star Wars fans feel so passionate about the newer movies and stuff, because in order to take that experience at home, it was through the toys. It was through our own imagination, and making these personalized stories, had these personal experiences with your toys, and coming up with your own fan fiction. And so I think that's why the old school fans have such a vehement, emotion about the they take ownership over it. But that's what we did. We played with our toys, and because Boba Fett was a very mysterious character, but it was through our toys and our imagination that we kind of made him into this big dope ass character. So 3 years later, we had to. I got to share the screen again. 3 years later, we had to wait for Return of the Jedi to come out, and it came out. Boba Fett shows back up, and what happens? He clumsily gets killed by Han Solo. Accidentally bumping into his jetpack, making it malfunction, sending him uncontrollably flying into the Sarlacc pit.
With the Wilhelm scream, which made it even worse.
Yeah, it was very comedic. But to tell you the truth, I was 8 years old when I saw this. I was 8 years old when I saw Return of the Jedi. I laughed my ass off. Me and my friends, we all laughed watching Boba Fett die. We were fucking kids. We didn't give a shit because these are kids' movies. So
True.
So yeah, and then Return of the Jedi came out. It ended the Star Wars trilogy, and in our minds, Star Wars was done. That was it. George Lucas completed his saga. He was pretty much done with it. There was no Star Wars for like 20 years. And in those times, we had comics. Marvel had a comic line that continued, the mythology. Oh yeah, Droids. And then there was a cartoon. There was a few cartoons that came out. One of them was the Ewok Adventures, Saturday morning cartoons, and another one was Droids, the Adventures of R2 and 3PO. And it's just that. It's basically R2 and 3PO getting into various adventures, and Boba Fett made appearance on that show. And the thing about Droids is an interesting show if you go back and watch it. A lot of the guys that worked on the Star Wars movies, the original Star Wars movies, they worked on Droids. So a lot of the designs of the locations and ships and names actually ended up in later Star Wars movies.
So is Droids canonical?
Probably not. But
No.
but I think they borrowed like the pod racing and names of characters from the Droids cartoons because guys that were working on the same movies.
So
yeah,
is that on Disney Plus?
yeah, it is. I think there's only
Okay.
one season, but yeah, it was a short-lived cartoon. But Star Wars was, after Return of the Jedi came out, the popular Star Wars faded. We had G.I. Joe, we had He-Man, we had Transformers, Voltron. The 80s became the 80s. So Star Wars sort of faded into obscurity. And yeah, here's another shot of droids. And then, eventually the EU started taking, the extended universe, books and novels and comic books and video games sort of started filling in the fandom for Star Wars, and for a generation of fans, that's what they got into. That's their exposure to Star Wars. They never saw Star Wars in the theaters. They started getting into the video games and the comics and the and the novels. And that's where Boba Fett started becoming a fan favorite in those stories. He became a popular character. So when George Lucas decided to return to Star Wars and make the prequels, he decided to bring Boba Fett back in the form of Jango Fett and made Jango, the Star Wars prequels. Jango, his father, is the template for the clones.
Also, I do have to say this also. If anybody wondering why Jango, who was a bounty hunter, sounds like Jango Unchained, a bounty hunter, it's not a coincidence. That was done on purpose.
Yes.
Because the Jango was a bounty hunter from the 60s, which George Lucas was influenced by. So he named his bounty hunter after that one. So the Jango Unchained that Jamie Foxx is playing in is a remake of the old 60 movies. So just want to throw that out there. So.
Yeah. I mean, and Boba Fett as well. He was like wearing a poncho in some scenes, kind of like emulating like the Clint Eastwood Man with No Name character. He was meant to be a tribute to Westerns, the outlaw Western, the gunslinger, the Man with No Name Western character. So yeah, out of the popularity of Boba Fett, they brought him back to life. And here, this book here, Tales from Jabba's Palace, has the story where Boba Fett survives the Sarlacc pit. It's basically a short novella about Boba Fett being inside the Sarlacc pit. And as you well know, if you remember from the movies, the Sarlacc pit, you are slowly being digested for 1,000 years. And this story details that Boba Fett is down in the stomach of the Sarlacc, and what the Sarlacc does is it starts like basically wraps its like tentacles around you and kind of gets into your mind and absorbs your consciousness. So that's kind of how you become part of the Sarlacc. So while Boba Fett's down there being devoured or disintegrated by all the stomach acid, his consciousness, he can hear all the other Sarlacc victims inside the stomach, But Boba Fett's armor sort of protects him for the most part, and he ends up blowing him, getting a hold of one of his grenade launchers and blows himself out of the Sarlacc pit. That's how he survives. Similar to what we will be talking about in the Book of Boba Fett. So
also similar to, are you a fan of Parks and Recreation?
Oh, yes.
Because there's this one episode where Patton Oswalt does this whole filibuster where he's talking about Marvel and DC, and he actually talks about how you can bring back Boba Fett. And not to spoil anything, but exactly how they did it in this TV show is exactly how he explained it, like to the T. I'm like, okay, somebody might need some royalty rights on this, the way he did it, But that's all I had to say about that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, he grew popularity in the comics and the books. There was that Shadows of the Empire that came out in the 90s. It was supposed to take place between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and sort of details Boba Fett's, journey taking Han to Jabba, and then there's the Dash Rendar character. Shadows of the Empire was huge. They released a video game, they released novels, comic books, there was a whole toy line back in the 90s. So this just before the prequels came out. But yeah, so on to the prequels, Attack of the Clones. They established Jango is his dad. Jango was a foundling. This started expanding the lore and the myths of the Mandalorian culture. So Jango was not originally a Mandalorian. He was a foundling, and they sort of touch up on that in the Mandalorian show. But his during the Mandalorian Civil War, his planet was being destroyed, and he was saved by a Mandalorian force. Now, there's 3 factions of Mandalorians. There's the original Mandalorians, which are all warriors, like samurai. They have a code, a Bushido code, or what have you. That's who Jango was a part of. That's who rescued Jango. Then there's like the aristocrats, and that's who's on the Clone Wars. They're pacifists. They wanted to modernize and, peacefully integrate into the Republic. That's what we see in the Clone Wars. They're pacifists. They don't want to have anything to do with war. And then there was Death Watch, these radical, soldiers, freedom fighters that wanted to take the Mandalorian way back to their warrior ways. That's where you saw Bo-Katan on, she was part of the Death Watch. We saw her on the Mandalorians. So yeah, there's all these factions of the Mandalorian culture, and Jango was part of the true traditional warrior code of the Mandalorians. And that's how he raised Jango. As you well know, Count Dooku approached Jango. I mean, Jango had it in for the Jedi. He had no love for the Jedi. So when he was offered the deal of, hey, we're making an army that's going to take out the Jedi, and we want you to be the template, Jango was like, fuck yeah, fuck them. Fuck those Jedi. Yeah. So they used Jango as the template
on the side.
Yeah, so, and he got paid. But his payment, he didn't take money. His only payment was Boba.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, he just wanted, because his people were done. The Jedi destroyed their planet. He was the last of his race. So in order for his people to survive, he wanted a son. So Boba Fett is the unaltered clone of Jango Fett. Whereas the clones, they had accelerated, aging and all that. They had like the inhibitor chip. They were bred to be soldiers. Boba Fett was untouched. He's going to be just a regular human clone raised by Jango. And Jango takes him on jobs, different bounty hunting jobs, teaches him how to fight, teaches him those traditional Mandalorian ways. And as we well know, what happens in Attack of the Clones, he gets killed by Mace Windu. And Boba Fett vows revenge. This leads to the Clone Wars cartoon. Boba Fett appears as a little kid in the Clone Wars animation series, and he's trying to get revenge on Mace Windu. There's several story arcs where he's actively trying to kill Mace Windu and comes really close a few times.
Is he wearing armor or anything like that, or he's just
no?
Going
he's
after
still a young kid. Eventually,
Okay.
he does, but right here in this scene, I think he's only like 10, and he infiltrates the clones, and he pretends to be one of the clones to get close to Mace Windu. It's a good show. For anybody who hasn't watched the Clone Wars, I suggest you do it. It's awesome. It's some of the best Star Wars storytelling you'll ever see. It's great. It's, stop watching all that CW shit you don't like and watch the Clone Wars. I guarantee the Clone Wars is better than anything you're watching right now. But yeah, he teams up with bounty hunters. He teams up with Boss. At one point, he's leading a squad of bounty hunters as a teenager. But of course, he gets fucked over by them. Boba Fett has a real turbulent, hard life as a child. Gets thrown into jail, does time as a young kid, gets fucked over by pirates and bounty hunters and shit. And yeah, he sort of, but he starts gaining his reputation. Once the Jedi are, after Order 66, and the Jedi are no longer in order, he's like, sweet. He starts working for the Empire and starts doing jobs. That's when he starts building his reputation as the bounty hunter, the best bounty hunter, working for the mob, working for Jabba. That's when he meets Han Solo for the first time. And Han Solo is kind of a dick, and he always kind of never liked Han Solo. At one point, Jabba actually was going to have him kill Han Solo. But, Han Solo is just a lucky guy and gets away as usual. And that's
because even in the old movies, like Han Solo knew who Boba Fett was.
Yeah. And so yeah, he always sort of had beef with Han Solo. Let's see what else we got. And this leads to the extended universe. Can I zoom in on this? Let's see. Let me get this as big as I can. The extended universe after Return of the Jedi, of course, more novels were written, basically highlighting what happens to these characters after Return of the Jedi. The new Jedi Order, the new Republic starts happening. And this, Han and Leia get married. They have twins, Jaden and Jason. One of them goes dark. One of them becomes a Sith, starts another Sith war. Luke Skywalker and Mara Jade get married. They have a son named Ben Skywalker. So you can see where some of that influence came into the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, they kind of cherry pick. Yeah.
And Boba Fett was a part of that. Boba Fett went. Eventually, there was the Yuuzhan Vong War. The Yuuzhan Vong were like space barbarians. They came from another galaxy and were just like purging their way across, the Republic, starting war, starting shit, and recruits that one of the bad Solo twin starts working for them. Eventually, in some of the Boba Fett stories, Boba Fett gets married. He has a daughter at one point, and she is killed by the dark Solo twin. And Boba Fett ends up training his sister to kill him.
Okay.
And this sort of squashes the beef with Han Solo. After this shit happens, they kind of squash their beef, And this leads to, them finally defeating the Yuuzhan Vong, chasing him out of the galaxy. Mandalore is left in ruins. Boba Fett goes back and sort of helps rebuild it. And eventually he makes his way back to Kamino, which is the cloning facility where they made all the clones. And he basically finds a way to restructure his DNA because the original clones, they were altered. They had the accelerated aging, so they age faster. He reversed that. And that's how he was able to repair his body. So now he has like prolonged life. He's healthy now, and he's got extended life.
At least in
the extended universe, because none of this is canon anymore. So
right.
But that's kind of how it happened. He kind of, lives happily ever after, in the EU, until, his appearance on The Mandalorian, and let me get back to that. Can I get back to that? Shit. Let's go. Yeah. So yeah, that's just he kind of lives happily ever after, and then appears on The Mandalorian, in the new canon. So
okay, so basically even in canon, in Disney canon, he's back. So
he's back now, and that leads to the show, the Book of Boba Fett.
The Book of Boba Fett.
The point of all this,
right? We had to get there to know where we were going. So yeah. All right. So, what'd you actually think about the show?
Well, I'm biased. Like I said, I was waiting for this all my life, and I loved it.
Okay. I mean, like I said, because you're seeing things that you already see that they've already cherry picked stuff that has already been in the EU and in Parks and Recreation. So of course, you're just seeing that. You're like Leonardo DiCaprio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Just point the screen. Hey, I recognize that. Hey, I see that. So you're getting that connection with it automatically. So the emotional attachment is gonna make you biased on stuff sometimes.
Yeah. I was like, damn, that's it. It's only a half-hour show. I was like, oh, because I want it all right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you're starving in the desert and somebody throws you some water. It's just not enough.
Right.
I mean, I like that. It's like I've been waiting for like the crime underworld storytelling. I've always been a fan of that. Even when I was a kid, the bounty hunters. I've always collected the bounty hunters, even as the toys. I always bought their action figures. Bosk, 4LOM, IG-88, Zukas. I read the War of the Bounty Hunters comics. I've always sort of found that the criminal underworld of the Star Wars universe, that's always been like kind of
it's like the Wild West in space.
Yeah, so, it's like you fuck the good guys, fuck the bad guys, fuck all the government crap. What are the gangsters doing? And that's what I like, And this is finally that show. Mandalorian kind of teased that, but in the end, Mandalorian was all about Baby Yoda and Luke Skywalker and furthering the Skywalker saga. That's all people remember is Luke kicking ass.
It basically was like a TV pilot for all the other shows. Which what I said in the second half. I mean, I liked it, but I can tell everything was just TV pilots. That's all they were doing. Yeah.
I mean, it was just Mandalorian. Yeah, it touched up on a few Mandalorian things, and you had a little bit of the criminal element, but it was mostly about Baby Yoda. That's all anybody remembers out of it. And that's what I like about this. Like, we're finally getting that crime drama that I've been waiting for. And I like that he's like sort of taking Jabba's place. It reminds me of The Godfather. He's Vito Corleone. He's trying to rule with respect. He's that's how Vito Corleone was in The Godfather. He didn't eliminate his enemies. He did favors. He got his enemies to work for him. And that's what I think Boba Fett's trying to do. He's trying to win the people over. And I'm digging that. I think that's what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for the scum and villainy. Enough. Yeah. Baby Yoda was cute and fluffy and it was all good. Seeing Luke whip ass was dope. We all had a collective nerdgasm all over the world when that shit happened. It was awesome. But this is what I've been waiting for, So yeah, I dug it and I'm like, damn it, I want it all. You know what I mean? That's my only gripe. It was just too short.
Okay, pretty good. So yeah, like I said, how many episodes are there going to be?
I don't even know. 6 maybe, whatever. Too 6. Short. They should have 10. I don't.
Right, because I'm trying to remember how much the Mandalorian was. I think it was like 8 per.
Yeah,
something like that. But then you got the Marvel shows that are 6. So I guess we don't really know what there's going to be. I don't even know if they even announced how many episodes it's going to be. They just said it. That's what all it's going to be, and that's it. So
Robert Rodriguez is in charge, is like executive producing. He directed this first episode.
Yeah, he directed the first episode. He's over like this season or whatever.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, is Danny Trejo going to show up at some point? Because I think we need Danny Trejo in the Star Wars universe.
Machete kills in space, because that was supposed to be the third one. Yeah. So or just anybody else that Robert Rodriguez is usually working with, stuff like that. Because I think even Taika Waititi, when he was doing it, like some people he worked with showed up or stuff like that. So I don't know. So where do you think this show might go? Like I said, since it's going with a gangster, you
Well,
know,
I mean, I've watched the episode like a few times now. It seems to be just like, yeah, we saw flashbacks of how he survived, and we're seeing like elements of his past. And I think that's what we're going to see. Just this is going to be the Boba Fett story, you know, sort of establish him, where he's been, what he's done, and hopefully where he's going to end up, you know. I hope like that thing about where there were all the, you know, everyone was paying him tribute and kicking the, you know, kicking it back to the Don. You know, they were giving him money. They're making their payoffs. But that one mayor, the mayor of Maz
right. He was like,
Espa,
no, I'm expecting payment. Right.
yeah, and I think that's going to cause a problem. You know, because this is transition. The government, it's after Return of the Jedi, so the Empire is gone. The rebels are taking over. There's this transition, so
True, but like I said, the Empire never had a hold on that area anyway.
yeah. But in this power struggle, there's like it's like free territory. I think this mayor is going to cause a problem. He's either going to sell him out to the feds, the rebels, or he's going to find another gangster. Are they going to show? Because Black Sun is canon in the comics. Are we going to see Prince Zizor? Are we going to see
in the Disney comics?
Yeah. Are we going to see Crimson Dawn? Are we going to see what's her face from the Solo movie? Kira or whatever.
Kira, yeah, doing Terakasi.
Yeah, or whatever. Are we going to see some of that? That's what I hope to see. I hope to see like a cool, like the Sopranos in Star Wars. And that's kind of what this was. With that, we saw the flashbacks of him surviving the Sarlacc, him, getting taken prisoner by the Sand People, which I thought was cool. Him fighting that big giant monster and shit, and ripping off his head, choking it out like Leia choked out Jabba, and it was just a cool callback to all the old stuff, all the old movies and shit. And so that's what I hope to see. Some just cool action and cool, a crime drama. Something we're not used to seeing in Star Wars. They tried it with Solo, kind of got away from them, but
and they were hinting at if George Lucas would have did a third trilogy, that's where it would have went. Like it would have been all about the gangsters and stuff. Because basically the Empire is done, so we can't go that route anymore. We got to talk about the gangsters,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess where we're going. Like I said, nothing else to watch. The CW shows, then they come back on till March. So I got nothing else to watch till then. So yeah, so I'm in it for the long haul too. I don't know how many episodes it's gonna be, but I'll stick with it. Plus my girl's in it. May not win. Agents of Shield. So that's what sold me more than anything else. I like she's in it, so I know it's gonna be awesome, So
she's his right hand woman.
Right.
She saved her.
She's his baby Yoda.
Yeah.
in a way. The reason I'm saying it, not to say that she's a cute mascot or anything like that. I'm just saying that, basically Mandalorian was there. Baby Yoda was, because the hero, the badass, needs somebody to bounce off of, to somebody to look up at, oh, you're awesome, or somebody to connect with and talk to. Sidekick. You need a sidekick.
Yeah.
So Baba just can't, just do the show by himself. He needs a sidekick, somebody to bounce off of, and that's his Robin. That's his baby Yoda. That's, whatever. So
yeah, and she appeared on the Bad Batch earlier this year. So she's been doing this for some time now, being a badass bitch through this whole.
And what timeline was the Bad Batch in?
That was right after the Clone Wars. So right after Revenge of the Sith. So
okay,
she was young. She was young. She was really young in that show.
So what was she?
She was about him.
She was about. She was just about 100. Okay.
She was after them. She was after. Yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay. And even then, she had some still nice stuff into there, like bring them alive. And she was like, she got two of them. She like kicked the other one off and then got the other one. So like, okay. Do you think it might be any tension, or like I said, this is a gangster movie, and we've seen Scarface, we've seen Casino, and any other Scorsese movie we can think about. We always know it's a trope that the right hand man is always going to be a problem. Do you think that might?
I hope so. The best gangster movies are the ones that make you not want to be a gangster. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Scarface don't live. Scarface dies at the end.
Right. He didn't get a retirement plan. No.
Yeah. Vito died. Even The Godfather. I mean, they're all tragedies. Goodfellas. Henry goes to prison.
Yeah, I kind of don't want it because I like Ming Na, so I don't want her to be like Sammy the Bull or whatever it was that turned on John Gotti. So I hope it don't go down that road.
I hope so too. I mean, because she does have. I mean, she's in the life debt to him because he saved her because she got shot on Mandalorian, and then he repaired her or whatever. So she's repaying him, but yeah, I hope she's just like a consigliere, just kind of advises him and
Right. Not like, we get one scene where she, looking at the camera directly, like halfway smiling or conspiring with the mayor or something like that. I don't want to see that, man. I don't want to see that. Even though I know it's a trope, I don't want to see that just because I like Ming Na. Now, if it was some shady looking dude or like that, that looked like it might screw somebody over, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
One of the pig guys, if they screw him over, I'm fine with
that. Oh, the Gamorrean guards in booty shorts and shit.
Yeah. I saw somebody say, I watched Boba Fett for the plot. The plot, they showed the thick ass pig boys. I'm like, what the hell, man?
Yeah. I mean, you know me. I want to see a Rancor. I hope I see a Rancor.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's Disney. They got the money for it. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's right after. I don't think Bosk is dead. When did the Bounty Hunter Guild start? I think that was during. There's a novel series called The Bounty Hunter Guild Wars.
No, doesn't Bosk show up in like the last one, Rise of Skywalker?
No, I don't think so. Did he? There's like Trandoshans. There was his alien species. Oh, excuse me. But I don't know about him. But yeah, I mean, Bosk is a great enemy. I mean, even in the EU, they're always clashing. And in the comics, they're always clashing. I mean, Bosk is just a ruthless fucking asshole. He like kills and eats his dad in some of those novels and shit.
Oh, what the hell? Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I want like scum and villainy. That's what I want. That's what I've been waiting for. So we'll see.
Cool. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so we need to talk about what we're going to do next week. Are we going to do because this is the first week of 2022. So are we going to do the best of 2021 next week, or how are we going to handle that?
I guess so, right? I guess we can do that.
I guess we can do that. I don't think anything big is happening that week. So yeah. So I guess so everybody listening, whoever's still listening, we're going to do our best of 2021 next week. We got a whole bunch of stuff we're gonna do. We're gonna try to call Gomer, see if anybody else can jump on, and we're gonna make a big, extravaganza out of it. Kind of go from there. Yeah. Eli, I don't think we need to do comics. We've already
Okay.
Yeah, we went
I tried to get it in under an hour, so we had time to do comics.
No, we went clean over an hour. So yeah. So like because we're gonna be another 2 hours doing that. So yeah, we'll just pick it up 3 weeks from now because we don't depending on who we have next week, we probably don't need to do comics that week either.
Okay.
Because otherwise it's gonna be me, you, and Gomer just having inside baseball talk, and everybody's like, huh? Kind of like our listeners, So yeah, like I said, if you listen this long, definitely like, share, subscribe. There's list of other we have This Geeks and Comics. They're fresh out of Facebook jail, so go listen to them. I don't know who else is. I guess Get Valiant. Was they hit like number 300 or something?
Oh wow, yeah,
or 200. I don't know. I lost count. They got a lot of issues. And Big Willie is back up doing something, but I don't know if he's on the podcast like everybody else. I think he's just doing his own thing. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, join us next week. So hopefully we'll have our top 10 of our best of 2021. We'll make our list, start compiling them now. We'll kind of go from there. But until then, this is Leroy.
This is Eli.
We'll talk to you guys next week. Same bullet time, same bullet channel. Okay, cool.